Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's fine.
All right. So thank you, Bashar, first of all, for like agreeing to do this interview for my entrepreneurship course. So the focus of this interview is to first of all to understand your journey, how you have evolved as an entrepreneur, and how how you have shaped e-Sense. Right now, it's a big data analytics and technology company based in the Middle East. And over the period of time, you have the organization has proved that and bring in like a lots of value for your clients, and it has helped you. It has helped it. You are helping the organization to make the proper use of their data and getting valuable insights from data to draw in to make something big in this space. Now, before moving on to that, first of all, I like for the audience in the class, I would like to introduce you. Bashir is the co-founder and MD of e-Sense and have also led the organization to tremendous heights since he started. e-CENS is the data analytics company founded by him and is specialized in customer experience platform, GA4, web and app analytics, customer data platform, identity resolution, data strategy, personalization, etc. It's a team consisting of well-known data scientists, analysts, strategists who have wide experience across their domain and currently e-Sense with working with many global brands and have worked with the clients in multiple industries, including finance, hospitality, healthcare, publishing, e-commerce, etc. Now, Bashar, to start with, I would like to understand that like what can you share what was the most pivotal moment which led you to start eSense, and what was the initial vision when you decided to start eSense as a company?
Okay. So I'll give you a bit of background. First, thank you for the introduction and thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. First is just the aha moment is I was doing my MBA. I was graduating from my MBA, and I've moved from the US with my company. It was Motorola at the time. I moved in 2010 from Chicago. I was living in Chicago at the time, and I was working as a corporate person after my studies. When I moved, and I moved in 2010, and then the company was acquired by Google. Then Google decided to divest in 2012. The pivotal moment I was doing my MBA between 2010 and 2012 is when Google decided to shut down our office, and our office was profitable. We had like 38 employees with 100 million of revenue, and we were quite profitable. We were in the 15% of net, so it was a profitable, but to Google maybe that was a chunk of change. They said you can either move back to the US or you can basically leave. And I was doing my MBA, and I took a few entrepreneurial courses. I met many bright minds, and I always had that entrepreneurial bug. I was doing things on the side when I was in the US. We had a real estate business with my spouse, and since I was young, I was always interested in selling things. But the pivotal moment to get out of corporate was that event. And I was laid off from Motorola 3 times. That was the third time that I had to make a decision, and I just moved to the Middle East. I wanted to be closer to my family, so I wanted to be in the region, and I didn't want to travel back. I'm like, okay, this is the right time. I started my venture business with a few of my friends, one of them from the MBA school. And that's when we started a venture company that started many businesses in the Middle East. One of them is El Grocer that was sold to Salat and a few other businesses. Now, this e-Sense was a joint venture with another company that was a US-based company that we ventured with in 2014. That's when I started my journey into analytics. And that's when I kicked off the business. So I don't know if that answers your questions, but that was the pivotal moment is 2012 when
No,
Google decided to
absolutely.
shut down our office.
It very well explains the like what were the forces behind you starting e-Sense. And it's very interesting to know that all these challenges which you faced right from the time you were pursuing your MBA till the launch of these startups when you moved to the Middle East, it's kind of an inspirational journey which you have taken, and a very good motivating factor for any aspiring entrepreneur in future. So thank you for that. Now, I want to understand that what role did the strategic partnerships play when we talk about like the companies like e-Sense, or specifically about e-Sense, and like how do you go about forming these strategic partnership with different organizations?
I mean, so we have multiple. I mean, some of our partners, of course, the customers that we work with, and then the other customers is the technology. The partners that we work with is the technology vendors. And I think it's important to find mutual interest for whether it's us and the client or us and the partners, is where you want to find a mutual interest among the three parties to be able to engage. The key area of establishing any partnerships is that the partnership is formed on trust. There has to be some interest of that you not only take as an organization, you have to give. And I think this is a lesson in life in general. You have to give more than you take without an expectation of return. But in a case of business, of course, the relationship is based on a return. So your partners are expecting some ROI on that investment in time and energy. And to pick a strategic partner is you need to look at what the technology, you have to always be looking at the landscape, looking at what technology is moving into the future, where the market is headed, and find the right partner for you. So in our case, we pick technologies like top-notch technologies that we partner with, and we deepen the relationship with events, cross marketing, cross promotion each other, making sure that we hold each other accountable on accounts that need service, such that you eventually if the customer is happy, then everybody is happy. So picking the right technology is important. Strengthening the relationship, mutual trust is important, and then working constantly on that relationship. Just like any relationship, you have to constantly work on it.
That's interesting. But I would like to understand it from the same thing from one another angle. Like, how have your previous experiences, as you said, in the companies like Motorola, uh, actually have influenced this sort of partnership initiatives you have taken? Like, have they influenced at all your past experiences in building all these relationships over the years, or it's
Of
just
course.
yeah?
Yeah, I mean, like working in a big corporate structure provides with you, like gives you a roadmap, because you're working in a big company that has multiple parts. Some are internal, some are external. And you need to be able to influence those parties and bring your goal to achieve your goal. You need to bring these parties that you're not influencing to move towards your goal. So I think a lot of the like a lot of the learning that we did when I was developing software or I was developing mobile devices, and you work with internal and external vendors, and you have to establish a way of communication, a way of talking to partners, making sure that you understand their lingo, they understand your lingo, so that all of that relationship building to move towards a goal, that helps facilitate my current way of dealing with our partners. And then, of course, like a corporate structure provides is very high professionalism in terms of how to communicate, how to talk, how to explain what you need without being pushy or without being needy, but there's a common interest in mind. So there's a lot of learning that I learned from Motorola that helped me today. Definitely, it laid the foundation for not only the partnerships, but many things that I engage with on my daily life, like project management. How do you manage projects? How do you manage customers? How do you manage expectations? How do you manage employees? All of that came from the learning that I had in the corporate world.
Mhm. Interesting. Obviously, like all the past experiences play a very major role in all of our lives, which shapes our future. Now, if I
Exactly.
move
It's
to
like
the
a
next,
building, it's a building map, you know, you build on top of what you've learned, you get rid of the bad things and you learn from good things and you move on. So there's lessons learned both in the good ways and the bad ways, what to avoid, what to continue doing. And that's the life journey.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for sharing it. Like moving on to the next question, I want to understand what were some of the initial challenges which you faced when you started with e-Sense, and some of the core challenges, and how did you overcome it?
So core challenges is typically when you are moving from a very well established corporate structure to a small company and you're starting something from scratch, you have to do everything yourself. Like in a big organization, big setup, there is a role. There's for every role that you need to do, there's somebody that can do it for you, or there's somebody responsible for it. In a smaller organization, you have to roll up your sleeve and do things yourself. So that's one big challenge is you gotta be able to do things on your own initially. The second, you cannot hire. You don't have all the cash to hire part-time or full-time employees, so you need to do that yourself. Second big challenge is managing expectation. Like if you were running in a corporate culture and moving into an entrepreneur, you're not going to have the same level of salary or income. It may take years to replace that. So you have to level up your expectation and manage it with your family and make sure that your income is going to sustain you, or any savings that you had to sustain you through that period until you get into profits where you can replace your salary, your previous salary. So that's another key challenge. Then the other challenge is you're still not a known entity, so you have to go and build and market and promote yourself and do amazing job in execution. So juggling all these balls at the same time while you're still having um, little cash or little customers, not strong brand. All of that is really challenging in the beginning. So alignment with family, alignment with customer, alignment internally. That okay, it's gonna take a while. I think that's very important. Like that these are challenges that you deal with in the beginning when you start a business. These are the biggest ones that I would say I faced.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's pretty understandable. You talked about like hiring when were starting it as an organization or building the organization. I would like to understand that what are the key qualities you look for hiring, particularly in the early stages of your organization or the startup.
Okay. I mean, so the key decision is, are you able to leave, especially in the early stage, you need somebody who is a mindset of an entrepreneur. You cannot, and we did many mistakes. If you hire, some corporate people like me are able to switch from, as I said, from a mindset of having a very well structured organization to rolling your sleeves and doing things yourselves. But some people are just not fit for that. So key is finding a talent that is entrepreneurial, that is able to do multiple things at the same time with high level of quality. And you want to look for somebody who can bring in team members. So I always look for a leader who is able to bring others because they have proven themselves to be somewhere who attract others to them, who can execute the work. And then the other key challenge, like in hiring people in that early stage, is like the ownership. You need somebody with high level of ownership that cannot sleep at night if there's a customer issue or they want to be. So you need to look for somebody who has that uh, level of detail and level of ownership that they want to excel at what they do. Um, that's the kind of people that I look for is definitely high level of ownership, high level of leadership, and ability to bring other people together, and then ability to work with an unorganized structure. That is not easy also. So these are the things that I look for in the beginning until you scale to a certain area where you need to start having specialized roles.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And one of the some of the core things which I also think that which is very important in the early stages are the hiring the people who can collaborate with each other, think innovatively, and like also show dedication with an entrepreneurial mindset. This actually leads me to think about it. Like, is it possible, even though the person may not come from that kind of a mindset, but is it possible that we can build such type of a culture in the organization, which could bring in these which could actually help build these essential qualities in the team at the same time, even though the person might not be prepared from the start.
I think that will depend on the personality of the person. Some people just get set in their own ways, and it's hard to shift their minds um, from working in a very organized structure to working in an unorganized structure. In the beginning, things are a bit unorganized and a bit chaotic. I think it depends on the person. Now, can you influence somebody to be thinking more entrepreneurial? I think there are, yeah, and I've seen that in few people, but I think they had that in them somehow, or they got trained correctly, or they were at least open-minded. That I see some people that we moved from very corporate structure, very, very well structured, and they became entrepreneurial in their work now. So I see it. I think it depends on how open-minded you are to change. If you are, then and if you're willing to do that change, then you can fit well in. You can have that entrepreneurial spirit. So I have two examples. One where we couldn't change, coming from corporate structure, couldn't change, just wasn't able to do anything on their own, to somebody else who moved and excelled. So personality matters, I think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Bashar, I will move to my final question. And this is about I would like to know from you that what kind of advice would you give to the aspiring entrepreneurs, and especially about building and assembling and building the right team function, building the right character for a successful organization, for a successful startup which you have established, like kind of startup which you have established.
I mean, I'll tell you, one of the trickiest things that usually happens is perseverance versus illusion. I think that is one key skill that people need to learn how to avoid. There is a time for perseverance, and there's also that entrepreneurial mindset that I'm going to get things done, that I want to achieve, that I want to make sure that I accomplish things, and it will just take time. There is sometimes that we can be easily distracted by our own illusions. So if there's no product fit in the market, there's no need for your services, you're not able to zone in on the right service. Am I adjusting, or is just like a fluke? It's just that I sell one customer at a fluke and I'm not able to sell it again. So I think finding that voice in you is difficult. That's one advice, is make sure that you're not looking after illusions. Now, for building the team, is what we do. I mean, a company value is having group of people together aligned to achieve a vision. And I think it's that harmony in the team, to some level, is very important at the early stage. At one point, you also need to have a check and balance as you grow. You need to have a check and balance where you don't want a yes men always around you. Yes, 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 because they will be the worst advisors for you. They will just be always, there's the enthusiasm, which is great, but also you need somebody to check you in and make sure that they give you a valid advice, or at least you listen to that point of view if it's not not in line with your point of view. It doesn't mean that you listen. You have to agree, or you move with that point of view, but you have to have these voices in the organization to give you that honestly. So I think these would be my critical advice. And then also relationship. I mean, business in general is relationship, uh, corporate world, employment, everything is built uh, based on a relationship. You have to maintain very well respectful relationship with your customers, with your partners, with your employees. I had many people, boom, we exited one business in 2018, and now I have many people come back and join me because they enjoyed working with us before. So that relationship is critical. These are the three things that I would say you need to focus on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. So, thank you, Bashar. This conversation was really insightful, and I believe that it's going to be very useful for the audience listening to it, especially my classmates. And yeah, so I wish you all the best
Thank you
with
so
your
much.
future.
I appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. Take care.
thank you.
Good luck.